Greetings from Singapore. In this video, I share with you guys the top complaints by Singaporeans about the life in Singapore, and if you are tourist, this will be something new that nobody told you before, so let's get started. The next thing will be Singapore has too much laws, fine and jail for a small thing, a crime. They think it's illegal. For example, the do not feed the birds. You can fine up to $10,000. I mean, the birds are just hungry, right? So it's difficult to feed them without being punished. The next complaint is many foreigners come to Singapore and work, and then the Singaporeans think that the foreigners take their job away. This is not really true, because the jobs that the foreigners do may not be the type of job that Singaporeans want to do. For example, the bangla workers in the construction or the cleaners. It's just that the Singaporeans cannot find a job, so they push the blame. Maybe this is one reason, but they complain a lot. I heard it in the news every single day. And for the foreigners, right, it depends on which area are you staying at. This is the Geylang area, so there are more of the bungalows. Another complaint, the high cost of living increasing every year. For example, the taxi, right? The starting meter is about $4.60 until midnight at 12 a.m. You'll be charged 50% on top of the bill. Now, another complaint is that long queue at ATM, and even the banks have the some kind of faulty ATM machines or delay in dispensing cash. All these problems. Anyway, that problem of the banking issues can be solved by being more patient, because there are times where there are downtimes and some faulty apps. Another complaint is the MRT, public transport system, the metro. There are often delays and breakdowns, so commuters are forced to wait a long queue, especially the CBD area, Raspberry Place, MRT, Tanjong Pagar, City Hall. Anyway, this is LG MRT, so it's like 6:30 now. I'm going to town area. Another complaint on Singapore is that the Singapore uncle like to talk loudly in Hokkien, and they drink and talk loudly or even curse, scold bad words at the coffee shops. This one I agree, but not all, some of them. The next complaint is about Singapore guys. It seems that they don't have much dress sense, and most of them like to wear a backpack. And this habit is always, it's ingrained from the time they are young. When they're primary school students, they wear a backpack, and then in the army, they have a field pack, and now after the army and they're adults, they wear the backpack as well. And then for the Singapore women, most of them wear the long pants. Seldom they wear skirts or anything like that. Even long skirts are rare. Of course, some may say the weather is hot and so on, but I think it all depends on the occasion. If you are going for a wedding dinner, of course you wear something more elegant, right? If you are just going to buy stuff at the market, supermarket nearby, then casual dressing is fine. Another part about cost of living is really high. Even you take a Grab from maybe here, Raffles City, to the airport, it costs like maybe $30. And if you go to from airport to the west side, the west side or the north side, it can cost you like $50. And that's before the midnight. After midnight, it will be more. There's this thing called CDC voucher to offset the daily expenses, but it's not very much, $500. It depends on which year is it, but overall it's like some of the hawkers at the hawker center and markets are not very happy when the customer use the CDC voucher, because they have to spend time to scan the voucher and also verify if it's genuine voucher or not. Most of the staff here in Singapore doesn't have a good attitude when serving customers. They don't have smile. By the way, if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe right now and give a like so more people can find the video. Thanks very much. Let's see, $5 can buy what kind of stuff at the food court. This is Japanese and Korean cuisine. Well, it seems like over $5 for everything I see here, except the pork katsu and the udon is just match the budget, and the rest is like beyond. Now, some Singaporeans, they do not like the cyclists or the PMD riders at all, personal mobility riders, because they are known to be reckless, they speed and they run over pedestrians, especially the elderly, and there have been cases where elderly pedestrians suffered serious injuries and fatal, and they end up dead. Now, Singaporeans also like to complain about the high cost of living for the HDB flats, which are actually heavily subsidized public housing development board flats, but the prices are not really affordable because, just give you an example, let's say the prices of the 3-room HDB flat here, 3 room means there are 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, so the prices from 400,000 Singapore dollars onwards. This is in the outside, I mean this outside the urban city area. If I'm staying in city area, the price can easily double. And then most Singaporeans struggle to pay the money for the home. So what happens, they will take the bank loan. They will take the loan from the bank, and then every month they need to service pay the loans. They are very stressful, and some of them, if they quit their job, they have no job, then I heard of cases where they commit Singaporeans actually commit suicide. This is very terrible. I mean, this HDB look nice, right? But do you know that there's a 99 years lease? It means at the end of 99 years, the value of the flat becomes $0. You don't get a single cent back, and some Singaporeans are actually pissed off and they complain about this, but they cannot do anything because the government decide how many years lease and the government policy. So some Singaporeans are really fed up about this. Next, do you know buying a car is really expensive because of this thing called COE, Certificate of Entitlement. It's basically a owner's license to own the car, so it can range from 100,000 Singapore dollars onwards just to have the piece of paper saying that you are the owner of the car. It is quite absurd, right? And do you know that you can only own the car for 10 years? After that, if you choose not to renew the COE, then you have to give up the car ownership. And what happens if you have to take public transport, the bus, the MRT and the LRT once again? So the car ownership is really expensive in Singapore. That's why a lot of Singaporeans complain. But there's one catch to it. Yes, you can buy the off-peak cars and just drive on the weekends, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and the car is much cheaper. And then Singaporeans complain about the foreign workers working in Singapore and take away their job. This is not entirely true because it depends on the nature of the job. For example, we see the Bangla workers doing the construction and repairing the roads. How many Singaporeans are willing to take up this job? So this is one thing. And then it also depends on the expectation of the Singaporean if they are willing to accept lower pay. If not, then you just use the excuse as a reason to be unemployed. There's one thing when you talk to a Singaporean, or they talk to you first and they say, hey bro, hey sis, and you're not actually their brother or sister or family member, so you can find it weird even if you're a Singaporean, because they just want to be friendly or just want to keep you unaware of something. Singaporeans also like to complain a lot about their CPF money being locked in their CPF account. They cannot withdraw it unless they meet the minimum retirement sum. It's over, like, I'm not sure, I think it's 300,000 or 400,000 above. And then they say that their money is being locked up and they feel very frustrated because they cannot see their money and their money is all locked up, and then they complain about very little money every single month, not enough money for expenses. In my opinion, although the salary of Singapore jobs are higher compared to many countries, but the cost of living is also so high that I'm not sure which person, how much they save a month. If they are single, they will save more. If they are married with kids and they have the HDB housing loan to pay, then they will save less. But overall, there's a saying that you make the money in Singapore and you go overseas and spend, because Singapore has a the best passport, the strongest passport. You can go to a lot of countries, over 200 countries without any need of a visa. For example, you can go to China for 14 days, that's a maximum. And then you can go to Vietnam for 30 days, Thailand for 30 days, no worries. And think twice if you think that Singapore is really a safe country. Walking alone on the street at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you'll be really 100% safe. Let me tell you, there are actually crimes, violent crimes and petty crimes around. Violent crimes meaning being assaulted, and petty crimes meaning wallet being stolen or some other thing. But there are also molest cases and rape cases. A few years ago, a Bangala worker actually raped a Chinese Singaporean woman. And many years ago, there was a female jogger who was raped and murdered at the Bukit Batok area. It's really terrifying. Lots of information on the internet. You guys can go and search for it. So low crime doesn't mean no crime. We need to keep our alerts high. Singaporeans are too complacent, and they think that Singapore is really safe. But some Singaporeans have pointed out about this, is that they complain that people are complacent about the overall things in Singapore. They think it's 100% safe. So I just here to tell you that no, it's not 100% safe. So thanks everyone for watching this video. Please subscribe if you enjoy this video and hit the notification bell so they get the latest update of my videos. I'd like to see you guys in my next video. Take care everyone, and bye bye.